pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Jeff Renahan, First Ward.
Phil Carlos, Second Ward.
Jessica Lopez, Third Ward.
Michael Safone, Fourth Ward.
Matthew Wolliver, Fifth Ward.
Ann Schersch, Sixth Ward.
Felicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Danielle Strauk, Attorney to the Town.
John Baisley, Town Supervisor. Tonight's committee of the whole meeting is no special presentations, except we're going to do a State of the Town presentation at this time.
See if it works. Don't force it. Got a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Just keep the noise down.
Don't we go like three
Perfect.
minutes, 2 minutes?
3 minutes.
Yeah, you only get 3 minutes to speak when you're done.
Did you practice? I'm just kidding.
We'll start with the involvement, basically with our town board members. If you look in these pictures here, the one on the bottom is St. Patty's Day Parade, where it seems that our town board is very involved and they come about. And the one above is our first free library in the town. So there's just two things to be proud of: the involvement our board members have when they come to a lot of these events, and the fact that even a small event like a free library and a resident's, personal property, that people actually show up and attend these things. So in this year's budget, the revenues this year are the A fund. We had a budget of $6,337,021, and our actual was $6,473,000. So revenues on a lot of these funds are better. The A fund is just the town village fund. The B fund is the town fund. The DB is highway, and you got water and sewer. And if you look, the DB fund is at a minus. That's only because that's where we were supposed to be taking out some of the money from the fund balance. And the sewer fund is just that the sewer and the water rates. This year, even though we increased them, the sewer usage went down quite a bit. So that's a fund we're going to have to watch very carefully. And we're hoping that last year when we raised the rates for the sewer, that this will bring this number back up to be where it is. The second one here is our expenses. It's our budget versus our actual. And if you look at them, every one of them on here is less than what we actually budgeted for them, which is a good thing in some aspects. The A fund was $545,000, that we went under budget. B fund was $490,000 under budget. Highway was $341,000. Water fund was $286,000, and the sewer fund is $359,000. Then you have your revenue versus your expenses, and this is your true number of where your money's coming and going from. And the A fund, $555,000 went into the fund balance. The B fund, $370,000 went into the fund balance. The DB fund, it says $97,000, that we're under. That money, we're going to take $250,000 out of fund balance. So technically, he's $160,000 under. We, instead of taking $250,000 from fund balance, we only took $97,000. So that turned out to be a positive. The water fund is in a positive $538,000. The sewer fund, we went over on the sewer fund, and a lot of it had to do with the consent order that we're doing with the DEC. In order to stay on top of it and meet all the deadlines, we went out to bid, as everybody saw last year, where we actually had to line some of the pipes and do some other caulking and things. So when we bid out the work, that put us over budget a little bit. But the sewer fund is also one of our healthiest ones with the fund balance, so we didn't think it was that big of a deal when we did go over, and we did meet all our deadlines last year by 24 hours. It was close, but we made it. And this year's projected fund balance, the A fund is now $2,240,000. And 2015, we got here, we're at $68,000. So that fund balance has definitely shot up. And I think it was 2014, we're actually minus like $50,000. So that fund balance is actually turning around quite well. The B fund balance this year went from $370,000. It went up $370,000 to $2,301,000. The highway fund, as you see, went down $97,000, which is, again, we anticipated when we budgeted to take $250,000 of that out of our fund balance, which we only took $160,000, so it's only $97,000 in the whole, which was a lot better. And the water fund increased another $538,000. And the sewer fund is the one that we took the hit on for $198,000 to meet the DEC consent order. And this year we're We bid out a few projects, but it shouldn't be anything like last year because one of the biggest pieces that we have left to meet the DEC consent order is Hagentown Pump Station, which, as you know, we've worked on that one diligently. We received a grant from the DEC for part of it, and the other part of that project is coming from a hazard mitigation grant. And the hazard mitigation grant is tied up right now, so it's going to be 3 to 4 months behind schedule. We called the DEC to ask us to push that deadline out, and they realize that the only thing we're waiting for, it's been designed, it's ready to go, it's ready to order, but we can't do anything until we get the hazard mitigation funding money in. So they understand where we stand, that we don't want to give up the $450,000 grant, just to get the job done. They understand everything's designed and ready to go, and they're willing to work with us on that one. And these are the mortgage taxes. As you notice in like 2011, went down and shot up, and then the 13 and 14, it went back down. The problem with mortgage tax is if you get something big, like when a big commercial structure sells, you'll get like a peak in 2016. I think 16 or 15, the property on Spackenkill Road, there's 2 twin towers sold once or twice, and one of the malls sold a big piece of property. So you'll see spikes. So we try to keep it level and not just take the spike and run with the spike in 16 and all of a sudden go from 800,000 to 1.2 million, because the next year if it tanks and you have a year where you go down into the million or just around the million mark, where we've been hanging just above the million mark right now, you don't want to have a dip like it did back in the 07, 08, where we had 1.2 million and we were down, I think it was about 700,000 a year. So you want to make sure you're very conservative on these numbers, and I think we've been conservative. We've been growing slowly as they grow, and we've been watching them. This year looks like it's doing the same thing. It's going to grow a little bit. So far, we're having a decent year, but we'll see what the rest of the year brings on as far as the mortgage tax. These are numbers that are big numbers for us, so we're being ultra conservative about how we push those numbers up. And then as you can see, the sales tax, the county had locked us into $2.1 million, years ago, and then the county executive changed it to an escalator, and the escalator is now based on population. The first year that they put the escalator in effect was the year that they had the fuel tax, and we received $180,000 that year. We figured the following year would tank, go back down again, and the following year the economy started to change a little bit, and we ended up with $300,000. That's been on a steady climb ever since, but the same thing. One bad year on sales tax, we're down. So if you can see, I think, working with Charlie's office in the county, you can see where we've stayed just underneath that number, and we're just following the chart pretty much of where we should be. So I think we're in pretty good shape as far as the sales tax numbers go. And these are franchise taxes, the cell towers and so forth. And with those numbers, you sort of dip. Back in 2015, when the auditors came in, they changed the way that we actually count the deposit on the franchise tax, so we have to move it back. So you see the dip for 1 year and it spikes back up. That was just a change in something in the auditing department, the way they wanted us to do it now. Every so many years, they come back with different changes and how you calculate all your stuff. And this was one of those changes. Charlie came to the conclusion. And if you look at our fund balance, 2016, we took a little bit of dip between 16 and 17, but right now we seem to be on a steady uphill climb moving forward with that. We've talked to Moody's. Moody's kept our A1 rating where it was. They said, being they just raised it 2 years ago, we went to bonding early this year for Arlington. They looked at it and they said, it's a pretty good chance that they would raise us again, but it was too soon to make that change yet. They said, we're solid rebounding tax base. We've improved our financial position with sound reserve. We reduced our interfund borrowing. These are factors that all could lead to an upgrade as we move forward, but they just weren't quite ready. They said next time around we go to bond, that there's a good chance if things keep going in this direction that our rating will go up one more level. These are our latest officers we appointed, and here we have our ex-Lieutenant Wagner here now having Coffee with a Cop, which is the senior center. It's one of the implementations that the police department put in this year, and I think it's been going over very well with the seniors because he gets a chance to go down there and spend time one-on-one with the seniors to let them know the scams are going on and the different things. And it's been a hit down there for the few hours they spend down there. I think it's something the seniors are really enjoying, and it's going over very well. Last year, the police department put in some different programs. We now have the BEAT program, which is where there's a social worker that rides with the police officers, which we're hoping with the change in a lot of calls out there, a lot of them seem to be more along the social line where they need psychiatric assistance or, something along that line. This is definitely a positive program I think was out there. We put LexisNexis online last year, which is a way for everybody to get their accident reports instead of actually going physically to the police station and getting them. There's a small fee. Seems to work very well with the insurance companies coming in. They pay a small fee to get it, and there's a small fee for us to have it every year. And just 3 months last year, we passed that fee that it was to have it. So it's a positive to us. There's a little bit of money we're making on it, not a lot, but I think the amount of car accidents we have a year, it's freeing up the office help to have a chance to do some other things. They've just gone on Facebook and Twitter recently. They instituted Coffee with a Cop. Last year, the police department had 39,710 calls. And for the 81 officers we have, they had 19,996 training hours. So if people get an idea of what it entails on a daily basis for them officers, besides just being out on the beat, to be there and what they have to train and what they have to know. And it gets more difficult every year with all the legalese going out there and all the different situations and how things have changed over the years. It's become a very complicated job. These are our police stats for last year. DWIs went from 82 to 56. Burglaries were up on a rise a little bit. It was 90 to 106. Our arrest dipped just a slightly a little bit. Our motor vehicle accidents went down quite a bit. We're hoping to attribute the motor vehicle accidents going down to now the fact that we have a full traffic division, which is the first time that we've had them full in probably good 5 years. So now having full-time officers out there, on the highways, on the roadways, it should be a positive to help keep these accidents cut down. We're hoping the burglaries are pretty close to equal. I think it was a difference of 6 or 7. So we're just hoping that these numbers we can see go down. We're hoping the DWI number is also the same thing, that the traffic enforcement unit is out there more often, and they're getting a chance to get some of these people off the road. And we're hoping that Uber was one of these things that have actually helped. Nowadays, you can get a cab a lot easier. You can't get a cab as easy as you could before. And now if you use an Uber or something like that, I think that in the education program in the schools is hopefully, as people get older, more aware of they shouldn't be driving under the influence. These are a few pictures we have. This is the senior prom, the two in the top. And senior prom was hosted by Arlington, and the students of Arlington are down the right-hand corner. They come in, they set the whole prom up. They go out and they get the catering donated. They dance with the seniors. They sit with the seniors. They do whatever the seniors need that day. They take pictures with the seniors, for the seniors. And it's very well attended and it's very well liked. And the group from Arlington that comes out there is just a phenomenal group of students that they're really into what they're doing. They enjoy it a lot. Felicia was there that day, and I think she could attest to how it's actually a great time. I think the seniors interacting with the high school students is a bonus, and to have them to reach out to us to take this program on, I think was fantastic. Senior Center is still open 9 to 2:30. This year, we're going to have 8 bus trips, and we have 6 seasonal events. Some of them have happened already. You got your St. Patty's Day, you've had Valentine's Day, you've had the prom. They'll have a picnic, they'll have a holiday party yet, and a few other small events. Last year, we had 11,000 seniors visiting the center, and our goal for this year is to finally get a commercial kitchen up and running. Tom's been talking to Linda over there. Hopefully, we can get it going, and we'd like to see it built and designed, and most of it done while they're closed in August for a couple of weeks when they're closed, that we can get the kitchen done and planned. We'll finally have a commercial kitchen. And top corner is a picture of Felicia. I don't know if she was playing a senior down there for Coffee and a Cop. And the other picture to the right is one of the Arlington students down there. And the picture is myself and Tom discussing what we're going to do to redo the kitchen. If anybody knows and has any idea, I know Jessica, you're in a commercial restaurant, but if you want to take a look and give us any ideas, I've looked at other kitchens, and we're open for anything, but we really want to get out by June time for them to get things ordered so we get this moving.
That top right picture is actually Coffee with a Cop. It's not an Arlington senior, just so you know.
Oh, all right, sorry. Oh, yeah, it is a Coffee with a Cop, young cop.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, I
my
see him
age.
there. Sorry.
Yeah, he's not that young.
Sorry about
I went to
that.
high school with him.
You are correct, Felicia. And the one at the bottom is opening day of Cal Ripken baseball. This year, we're paving for 43 roads, 13 miles again this year. continuous. We have a very active, progressive road repair going on. We've been going good for probably 8 or 9 years now. All our sewer line repairs for the consent order, should be the final year for the consent order. We'll have one big item after the lines, and that's a Spack and Kill pump station, which they want lifted out of the floodplain. That's in the design stage right now. The Hagentown pump station is the one that we discussed earlier that we want to move forward with, but we're still waiting for the hazardous mitigation grant. Water Department last year repaired 30 water main breaks. Keith has now started a exercise program for some of the bigger valves, because a lot of the issues they have with the big valves are once they go to open them, it's been so many years that they're cracking and snapping. And he's continuing the water meter replacement program. He's reached out now to a few residents that are still left and actually sent them letters, and we're going to try to work it, even if it's on a weekend, to try to get the residents that aren't available during the week to get the rest of these meters done and finished and in place. Last year, having Mike Welty on board, I think has helped a lot, because he's been very proactive and working on grants with us. Last year, we got a Hagentown pump station grant, which is $115,000 that goes along with the hazardous mitigation grant. We got grant money for a highway leaf truck. That's the end of a Stu Serino grant. We got a sewer vacuum truck grant, which we're working on now and finishing up. Should be able to order that truck within the next month and a half. The highway got a bucket truck grant from a SAM grant from the state. Shared service grant, Randy Casella from Beacon and I met once 2 years ago, and we decided that we're going to go and put in a shared service grant for drug task force, because we felt the towns that have police departments all have officers on the drug task force, but the task force doesn't have any boundaries throughout the whole county. So we felt that the towns shouldn't be paying for all this, so we put in the shared service grant for that 2 years ago, and this is the second year we got it, and they're reimbursing us for that through the county. And we got the Greenvale Park grant for $95,000, which is also part of the SAM grant from Sue Serino's office. Mike Welty reached out, and we got a master plan grant last year, and I think that's from the DEC. And we got a mapping software grant. And then we also applied for a DASNY grant, which is another SAM grant, for $450,000 for some sewer line work. It's to do a line down where all our lines meet, down by Spack and Kill Croft Corner Road. And there's also a spot over here by the police station where we want to reroute the line out of the dump area and go in there. And this was all reaching out to state officials and getting grant money for those items. This is your tax breakdown of where your tax money is going when you pay your taxes. If you live in the Spack and Kill School District, 61.3% of it goes to your school tax. 13.18% is the town portion. 9.8% is the county portion. And the fire portion is 16.44%. So if you look at this, the town is one of the smaller pieces of the pie when you look at how these go, but they do change. Because if you have Arlington, schools, it's 61%, and the county's 9%, and the town's 13%, and the fire there is 16%. So they all change for different ones. I didn't put them all up because there's, I think, like 6 different combinations. But then you get down the southern end of the town, which is the first ward, and I think this is basically the first ward, because a part of the second ward that has Wappinger School District has Arlington Schools, so it's a little bit different. That the school is 62%. The county is 13%. We're 18%, and the fire district down there is only 5%, because that fire district incorporated in this one is New Hamburg, which is volunteer, and it's a lot smaller than the rest of them. That is the end of the presentation. Just want to discuss some other stuff that they're doing. Recreation, we've discussed that we're finally getting in check to get some of the work done over Rocker Road Park. Should be started this year. It's getting moving. I think Tom's going to open the bids in a couple of weeks. Today, as Brian would say, they had the ground breaking on Greenvale to redo the basketball courts down there. And the price is coming in to replace the rest of the hoops and stuff. Should be in the next week or so. Those are, I think, 3 major things that are going to get done, and they should be all done this summer. They should be putting the volleyball court in New Hamburg at the same time they put the basketball courts in. So going forward, I think the town is still going in the right direction where we're going. It looks like our fund balances are going up, and as long as things go up, and we're seeing a lot of new building going on. It looks like Hudson Heritage may finally in the next month and a half have a site plan. Eastdale Village is slowly moving ahead. If anybody goes by there, it It looks like they're looking to be in by the fall and start going. So these are all new things that are on the tax rolls. They'll be coming up on the tax rolls. We have emergency 1 on Route 9 that's coming in. We had a lot of vacant property on 9 that I know a lot of board members were worried about. Emergency 1 is coming in. We now have, new one that's moving into Poughkeepsie Plaza there.
TJ Maxx.
TJ Maxx, thanks.
Burlington Coat Factory, right?
The
And
Burlington
old
Coat
Toys R
Factory is
Us?
moving into Toys R Us.
Yeah.
TJ Maxx is moving into Poughkeepsie Plaza. And we have a couple people interested actually in the old Kids R Us down in Coles Plaza. So he's hoping that he'll maybe be able to tell us in a couple of weeks I'll have somebody in there. We've had an inquiry for a brewery out here in Mike's Ward again, another brewery. So there's a lot of activity, a lot of stuff going on. The planning department is extremely busy. And what they're doing and what they're trying to retrofit and get things going, I think these are things that actually add to our tax base, and I think they're going to be a bonus to us going forward, that hopefully, they're not putting that much of a stress on our supplies here, our police departments, fire department, ambulance, so forth. But these are all things that I think are positive for the town. We're seeing a lot of things that were run down, like emergency 1, that are actually getting bought up and cleaned up. And you're seeing a lot of the properties that are vacant, the still ones are out there. A lot of them are that way because it's up to the landlords now to put some money into them and make them, look halfway decent. They took the old Robert Hall on Spack and Kill Road and Croft Corners Road, and they've actually went and they refaced the whole front of that building, so that's new. We have Riad Hotel behind Red Robin, got their TCO this week, so they should be just about ready to open up. And the Hyatt down on the corner of Sheaf Road and Route 9 is probably not far behind them. Within the next 2 or 3 weeks, they should be getting ready to open up. The old Best Western, they're actually finally moving along, and I want to say maybe the end of the year, they'll get going. So we're seeing a lot of progress, a lot of interest in what we have. We have another brewery that's looking to come in down in the First Ward. So, I mean, a lot of these spots, we're actually going to see some changes finally. I think the economy's positive as long as we can keep these people going and not get them tied up in town hall and let anybody disappear. And we work with them. And I think Mike Welty has been a big benefit downstairs to get things moving and work with him in the planning department. He's got things going in the right direction. So I think the town, as it stands now, I think is in a very positive direction where we're going right now. And I think things are going forward. And I hope that they keep going this way. And look at our fund balances and where things are. We're very healthy. We're very stable. And the auditors are very pleased with where we are. The auditors were only here for a week this year. In the next month or so, the auditors should have their draft out. And at that point, they'll come in and, I want them to present the draft to the board so everybody can actually get to see what it is and entail what they do and actually how they do their audits, because they target different areas every year. So on top of just checking our finances, they pick whether it's a building department, the planning department, whether going onto a real estate contracts, which they went through this year, to make sure everything's legit, up to where it should be, all the money's going in the right spot. They've done a good job. It's a very thorough audit. And the better the comptroller's office gets, the deeper they can dig into what they are. So it's been a good thing, because if they find something, we correct it right away. As people have seen, last year we put procurement policy in place, put credit card policies in place. A lot of these things are all recommendations from them. As soon as they saw them, we addressed them. We tried to get them in place for them, so we get things the way they should be. I feel comptroller's office has tightened things up very well, and working with these auditors, they've done a good job of pointing us in the right direction for some things that, not that they found anything wrong, but there's just the way they want things done. And when they came in this year, they were here for a week. Last year, they were here for 3 weeks. And the year before that, they were here for like 6 months. So it's slowly getting back to where we're working well with them and they're getting things. They've changed a lot of things over the years. A lot of these things change from year to year. Like the comptroller's office will get something in place that they want, and the next year they change it. They want it turn back a different way. So there are changes every year what they have to make, but they're getting better. And I think it's a great thing when they come in and they recommend things, because it keeps everybody on our toes. It just makes the town that much tighter and going forward. So we're hoping that a lot of these projects will move forward. Right now, the building department and the zoning and fire inspections are all looking at new software for downstairs. So hopefully that'll be something that we can get positive going forth. We met with the grant writer today, and he's going to look for grant money for that, for drainage. And he's looking for more grant money to finish up the master plan and to do a resource inventory downstairs. So we'll reach out, and I said, Mike Welty's been great at following up on all these things. So it's been a pleasure to have a full-time director of development downstairs to help push a lot of stuff going and making sure when it's as busy as it is, things are moving. And, he came in at the right time. He came in as the economy turned and things went. So it's been going pretty well downstairs. I think overall, the town's going in the right direction. Anybody got any questions?
Good job.
Thank you.
How do you find out which roads they're going to pave for a year? Just call highway
You can call highway, and I have a list.
you do?
Yeah, I have a list, yeah. Yeah, some of it's CHIPS money, some of it's bonding money. The CHIPS money is through a resolution, he's got that listed somewhere, but I have it in my office, I can give you a list.
Do you want me to put that presentation online? If you do, you can email it to me tomorrow and
Yeah.
I'll stick it up.
Committee reports? Finance?
Nothing to report.
Fire advisor?
No report. I just wanted to apologize. Again, they forgot to publish the meeting notice on the town website. So we'll try to make sure they get Mark and them to put it on there for us.
Government operations?
Nothing to report.
Land use and planning?
Land use planning, nothing to report.
Personnel?
We have interviews set up for tomorrow for the court clerk. So we're working on that one. So
Okay.
we have 2 tomorrow.
Recreation?
Yes, although you've delivered most of the report already.
Alright.
I only got 2 little things to add, and that the day camp is 51% full, so registered already. And they're going to be finished hiring this week for the day camp. And the senior trip is this Saturday, and they're going to go to the Albany Tulip Festival.
What?
Albany Tulip Festival.
Tulip Festival.
Tulip
Okay.
Festival, yeah, on the 11th. Yep, and that's already full and booked too.
That's a full trip.
Yep.
That sold out very well. It's a new trip too this year.
New trip.
So the new trips, the seniors seem to be very impressed with, and they're selling out fast.
Yeah.
Water, sewer, and highway?
Nothing.
Nothing report. Supervisor's report. We met with Charter One a couple weeks ago because last year we worked with Troy and Banks to go out and do an audit on all our cable, and Charter One seems to be a little bit of delay on getting the information over to Troy and Banks, so we called them and we had a long discussion with them, and last Thursday, Troy and Banks got the information they needed from Charter One. We held a Climate Smart Resiliency Planning Tool meeting last month, and I think Ann was present at that one.
For which one?
Climate Smart Resilience.
Yes, I was there.
Yeah, yep. We attended opening day of Little League. I had a roundtable meeting with the seniors last month, and I'll have another one the 22nd of this month. We met with the Wappingers Creek Intermunicipal Council, and we've discussed some of the projects in the town. And I've discussed with Jessica, one of them would decommission one of our sewer plants that goes into the creek. We're working on that, and they're willing to help with any endorsements they need. We attended the Easter egg hunt, which was a little bit on the overwhelming side. I think Recreation Department was very impressed with the crowd of people that showed up. It was a lot more than they expected. We went to Earth Day, the children's home, where they had somebody donated a new tree, and every year they plant a new tree, and they finished up with dessert, which was worms and dirt. It was actually good. Then we went to Arlington bid meeting, where they've been discussing the Central Hudson project with all the gas lines to Arlington. We had a capital plan meeting at Tri-Municipal on updates to the sewer plant down there. We had a presentation from IBM on a virtual conference meeting. We met with Senator Serino on Hudson Heritage and on the Shady Brook Trailer Park, which has finally been sold, and they started cleaning it up already. And I think this weekend, we should see some real movement over there. I think they're going to start taking some of the mobile homes out. We attended the senior prom, and as I said, it was well attended and well enjoyed. We attended Cal Ripken opening day. We went to the ribbon cutting at Clearway Energy, which is out here next to Plan B Brewery. Our new 20-acre solar farm at Clearway Energy is now offering up to anybody. If you don't want to put solar panels on your roof, or you live in an apartment or a mobile home, Clearway will sell you energy, and Clearway is the first one that will sell energy at a discounted rate to low-income people. So it's a good program to look into to see if it'll save you any money. And it's also the first one in Central Hudson's district, and I think it's 5,500 solar panels out there, and unless you're driving out there, you have no idea it's out there. We had a BAS software presentation here, and that's the possible software for the planning, zoning, and building. Myself and Councilman Renahan attended a tri-municipal meeting. Dutchess County Leadership Breakfast the other day. We held our monthly department head meeting here. We had a construction progress meeting this morning and an I&I meeting to make sure we're in check and going to meet all our dates with our consent orders with the DEC. The only one that we're going to have the problem with, as I discussed, is the Higgintown Pump Station, which the DEC was willing to work with us on. And today, in Arlington, Flowers by Angel had their ribbon cutting, which is on the corner of Arlington and Main Street there. Nice new florist, and they seem to be doing a phenomenal business already, so hopefully they'll be there for a long time. They were very happy and excited that they had such a great turnout today. That's all I got. Make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody like to say anything, Doreen?
So, I brought up a couple of times about the Vassar College, their new inn and conference center, and originally I said that I didn't see how they could get away with not having rezoning, and it appears that now they will be coming before the board for a rezoning. I just want to bring to your attention that, again, since they need your approval for the rezoning, the board does have I believe, the ability to ask them to work with the town for what's best for the town, the residents. And this is the Vassar newspaper, the Miscellany News. And one of the professors wrote a letter with her concerns about a number of things with that project. And one is she's concerned about the historical value of the buildings, and she said it was an early example of urban planning initiatives. And so I don't know if the Historic Preservation Commission has taken a look at this project at all. And she talks about how currently there's an exhibit at the Trolley Barn in the city of Poughkeepsie about the history of neighborhoods around here, and again, urban planning and the consequences of bad planning. And then another professor objected to the site because he said it's on top of the green space used for the weekly farmers market. And that is an important area for the town. And his opinion is that it would totally change the character, basically putting up a wall to the adjacent Poughkeepsie community. So I would urge the board to try to work with Vassar to see what you can come up with, because again, they do need your approval, and just because they're Vassar College doesn't mean that they shouldn't be able to, to work with the town. So, and then one thing here, and I'm not sure what this is, because it says one of their proposals, which would have saved some of the green space, had to be withdrawn. It said due to codes and regulations from the town of Poughkeepsie and the DOT. So I'm not sure what that is, but again, I can leave this with you if you would like to see it. But they do need to get approval from the town board, and so you do have, I think, the ability to ask them to work with you on this. So. Then the other thing is I got a letter saying that our assessment was going up, and I did briefly mention it to you, Jane. You said that most of the properties in the town are going up?
Most of the properties in towns and surrounding towns. Yeah.
Okay.
So at this time, it's hard to tell if anybody's actual taxes will go up, because some of them went up 16%, 15%, 20%. I think it's in the best interest, if anybody has any questions, besides you, Doreen, call the assessor's office. She might be able to explain it a little better to, certain areas of the town and certain styles of homes that went up to different rates. She could probably fill them in better than us going down a whole checklist, because I think quite a few went up. Some went up as low as 5%. Some went up as much as 10, 15%, 20%. She has to stay at 100%. She has to assess so many houses during a certain time frame to keep them at 100%. But she's talked to a lot of the other assessors in the area, and quite a few of them in other towns also have gone up. It looks like the market has made a little bit of a change, and they're going up. If they all go up equally or close to equally, it shouldn't affect the tax base that much, but that's not a commitment to, different neighborhoods, different school districts, to how it would affect every individual homeowner. There's no set pattern to say, if your house went up, what it's going to be at this point. We won't know until the end of the year when all the numbers come in.
Okay, and again, one of the things that I talk about a lot too is that the tax certs, especially the commercial properties, every year we see the same people coming in, it seems, over and over again, asking to have their assessments lowered, and a lot of times they're not challenged. And, and now you see just, regular homeowners, it seems like across the board, the assessments are going up. So again, I think you really need to pay attention to these tax certs, because when the businesses come in, they say, oh, we're going to give you, this much revenue, and, look at all the taxes you're going to get. And then they come in and they ask to have the assessment lower, which means they pay lower taxes, and then it's spread out among the rest of us. So,
As you said, Doreen, if somebody's taxes, if they do think their assessment went up quite a bit, this is the time to call. Don't delay a month, don't delay a week. This is a time frame to call. If any changes can be made, this is the time frame to make them. If you wait till the tax season comes out, it's too late. The roll's already done. If anybody's got any questions or issues with their change in their assessment.
And they have been calling.
Yeah, and they have to actually call the assessor and make an appointment to go down there and discuss it with her. So don't delay. If you get your assessment and you think it's too high, it's not close to what the value, you think the value of your house is, definitely should call. Don't wait, because once the roll is done, there's no turning back for this year.
Of course.
right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Myself, if I can.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I just had a couple things. First off, I wanted to say thank you to everyone who came to the QPR suicide prevention training last night, especially Felicia and the rest of the town employees who stayed late and got their certifications. Dutchess Community College provided the trainer who expressed his eagerness and willingness to partner with the town as much as possible to continue to offer the community different workshops and trainings. So that's exciting and encouraging. And Taryn Riley, who's the head of HR, worked really hard on it, and she also and myself want to encourage anyone who has any ideas for any type of workshops or that they'd like to see in the town to let us know, and we're happy to work on it. I had somebody here from Ulster County last night who said, I was so encouraged to see things happening in the town, and I drove all the way here because I was looking for something like this, and there wasn't
My friend
anything.
came from Woodstock.
Yeah, so I think it's a really nice thing that we can do for our community and surrounding communities. And then also, just in the spirit of spring, I wanted to say that I've had a lot of calls personally about cleanup, and people are out, the Hudson Valley's coming back to life, and Mark has done a couple cleanups for me with Highway, so I just wanted to thank him and Recreation for being so hardworking and responsive, and every time I call or I have a constituent call, they respond right away, so it makes it really easy for us to do our jobs when we have such a hardworking team behind us. So it's been a good start to spring for me, and I just wanted to say thank you to everyone.
And I heard very good things about the class last night from the members that attended. They thought it was fantastic. They said one of the only downfalls would happen to be the same night. I think the county was offering it too.
Yeah.
You ended up with quite a few people, which is good. I mean, that they came here, and it's amazing that, as you said, that you always get somebody from across the river. When we held the last class here, the opiate training class, I think we had somebody from Saugerty showed up.
Yeah.
I mean, so some people read it. I mean, it's good that it's out there, and when we give free classes like that, as long as we have room, I don't think we're going to hold anybody who not come. I think it's a great thing to offer, and I think they're all important classes that we've offered so far.
It was really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody else? Make a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Everybody have a good night. 7:38.